guys, I'm Lindsay from the Toasted Pine Nut, and today we're going to make peanut butter chocolate donuts. You guys, I got a donut pan and I went crazy with it. I am so excited about this recipe because it combines my two loves, peanut butter and chocolate, and they're going to be so good. They're dense but fluffy and so moist. You guys are going to love this recipe. It's going to be your new favorite go-to treat because oh my gosh, they're so good. So it's super duper simple, so let me take you through the steps real quick, but first, cheers. Let's make something yummy. That's too hot. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get 1/4 a cup of butter in your bowl. You could also use ghee, you could probably also use coconut oil, that would be fine. So I do grass-fed butter in my bowl, 1/4 a cup. I heated mine up to make it a little melty, to speed things up a little bit, but ideally you want it to be room temperature. So once this has cooled, I'm gonna add, this is filled up a little too much. This is 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then this is 1/4 of a cup of agave nectar. You could also use honey or maple syrup, that would work fine. I tend to use agave nectar because it has a lower glycemic index, and so it doesn't spike blood sugars as much as like honey or maple syrup does. But honey or maple syrup works fine for this recipe, and just use whatever you're comfortable with and what you like. So 1/4 a cup agave nectar. The next is 2 tablespoons of natural peanut butter. And then the last thing you want to do is crack 2 eggs into your bowl. So you're really just combining all your wet ingredients. Okay, so once all your wet ingredients are nice and combined, you're going to add 1 cup of cashew flour. So I have been loving cashew flour lately just because it's more buttery and creamy and delicious, I find. But you can also use other nut flours like almond flour, hazelnut flour, walnut flour if you have it, I don't know, any other kind of nut flour. I would stay away from coconut flour just because it's a little more granular and grainy and it's not a great sub for the cashew flour. I also don't like coconut flour in large quantities, and this is quite a large quantity, so I would just stick with an almond flour, cashew flour, hazelnut flour, and we're doing 1 cup. And then in here we have some sea salt and some baking powder, and we're just going to pour that in. Get in all of it. And then we're going to whisk this all together. So this is my donut pan. I'll link to the exact one that I have in the description box below. I greased it with butter just because that's what I had on hand, but you could also use a spray or coconut oil, whatever you typically use to grease it. The key is you want it very well greased. I've had issues where sometimes it gets stuck in the donut pan or they fall apart when you try to get it out. The more you grease, the better when it comes to donuts. So definitely grease your donut pan well. So this is looking good. So this is a little trick for making donuts. You want a plastic baggie, and then we're going to put all the donut batter into the plastic baggie, and then you snip it off and just squeeze it around each donut. I was having a hard time when I first got my donut pan because I was trying to spoon it in into a perfect circle and it never worked out. They were always kind of a mess. So I definitely recommend this method. It is just so much easier and so much cleaner and more precise. So I'll take you through it real quick. We're going to put all our batter into here. Gosh, the problem is it moves. Okay, getting better, getting better. Look at that. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is just seal it off, and then we're going to cut off 1 corner. Like a pretty big cut. You want it about 1 inch of a slice, and then we're just going to do it right around So the next thing we're going to do is pop it in the oven at 350 for 10 to 12 minutes. While the donuts are cooking, I'm going to make the icing real quick. What I have in this bowl is 1/4 of a cup of cocoa butter, and what I'm going to do is just spoon out 1 tablespoon of it into a separate little smaller bowl. Into this bowl we're going to add 1 tablespoon of agave nectar. This is going to be your chocolate icing. And then this is 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder. So this is going to be like a nice chocolate glaze, and then it'll harden and make like a really nice layer of chocolate on top of the donut. It is so good. And the next step, you could do a peanut butter drizzle. This is totally optional, but I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of natural peanut butter to this 1 tablespoon of cocoa butter. Oh my gosh, I am Loving these donuts. I'm going to let them cool a little bit before I try to take them out of the pan. So I'm just gonna set them aside and let them cool for like 5 minutes. Okay, so what you want to do is now that these are cooled, you just want to slide a knife around the outer side and gently lift them up from the pan so you can put them on the cooling rack. The next thing you're going to do is dip the tops of these donuts into the chocolate glaze. So we're just going to dip it and then put it right back. What do you think? So after you dip it in the chocolate, you're going to do the peanut butter drizzle. You ready for this? Ooh, yeah. Okay, let's have a donut. Oh my god. It is peanut butter heaven. So good. They are so good, you guys. Alright guys, there it is, peanut butter and chocolate donuts that are so good. I am very obsessed with these. If you give it a try, let me know. I would love to hear about your creations. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe because I'm posting videos every Tuesday and Friday. I'm Lindsay from thetoastedpienut.com. You can also find me on Instagram at thetoastedpienut, and I will see you next time. Bye. Chocolate. What did I just touch? The best donut around. Donut. Oh my god. So I turn out and then you're like, oh, Lindsay, you use it every time. We have a half a cup of sea salt, not a half a cup. What do you think?